Hello, everybody. My name is Devin Schoening. I work for the Council of Community Schools is my primary job. My role has changed in this coming year, so I don't even really know what my new title is. I do something this year with virtual learning and remote learning. For the past 10 years or so, though, I have been an instructional technology coach and the lead for our instructional technology program in Council Bluffs Schools. I have served on the iTech board in Iowa, which is kind of like NEDA in Nebraska. So I've done lots of work there, presented all over the place, doing things. And this one today is really a webinar that came out of a series that I did back in April and May in our district, when things went haywire and we were no longer at school. I created some webinars for teachers in my district to be able to jump on and learn some new things. And Canva was one of the tools that I spent some time with them and did an entire webinar on that. This webinar is a little different than other ones that I've done in that it's not so much a presentation as it is more of a demonstration of some things. You know, I will share some very specific things. I'll share an agenda with you in just a second for how I see the next 50 minutes or so going. But really what I hope is that in showing you some of these things and demoing this product a little bit, that you'll be able to come up with some questions and you'll have some things that you want to know, whether or not Canva will do something or how to do something in Canva. I can't promise that I have all the answers for that, but I'll give it a go. And if nothing else, one thing that I'm pretty good at is just kind of figuring things out with people. So if you do end up with questions, or I hope you have questions, and if there ends up being something that maybe I don't know the answer to, maybe we'll find it together during this time. So I'm hopeful that during the time that we're together that you have questions and we use those throughout the session and not just in the last 10 minutes or so. So if you do have questions, please do put them in the chat. I do check back on that pretty regularly. And again, I'll look to kind of demo some things for you as we go. So with that, I'll jump over and share my screen and we'll get going on using Canva. So I'm going to come over here and present this one slide that I do have just to get us going. So really about the agenda that I have today, one thing I love about Canva is that it really does allow us to design things like a pro, right? This was the title of the session when I did it before, and it's using Canva to design like a pro. When I share some things in a second that I've created, by no means am I a professional designer. I may have done some, more of it than some people, but certainly not a professional. And there are things that we can do within Canva that really do allow us to look like we're at least somewhat, maybe semi-professional in design. And so that's why I like Canva so much. So what are we going to do today? I'll talk a little bit about what Canva is and the versatility of Canva. For people of all skill levels, of all ages, it's certainly a tool that I have offered up, to teachers in all grade levels in my district. We'll look at a few things that I've created, again, not to show off things that I've done, but just really to look at that and say, that kind of looks pretty decent, looks kind of professional. And I'm certainly not a professional at doing that. If you haven't signed up for Canva, I will give you some time. I'm hopeful that you'll sign up for it today, at least the free version today, so that you can play around with some of that while I'm doing that. It's pretty easy. Hopefully it's easy enough to kind of hop back and forth for you to Canva and then back to here where you can see some things that I'm sharing. We'll look at some of the things that you can create in Canva. It continues to expand. Their library of templates seems to expand on a daily basis. So we'll look at some of those things. We will create together. We'll go in there and look at some of the creation tools. We'll look at how you can share these. So many ways to share. And then we'll look at some additional features that you might like as well. And like I said, questions at the end for sure. What do you still want to know? But as we're going, I want you to make sure that you ask questions as well. So that's our agenda for the next 45, 50 minutes-ish. And we'll kind of jump right in. So I'm going to jump back out of that screen and I'm going to hop over to Canva and just show you a few things that I've created for different purposes. And again, not for the sole purpose here of showing off things that I've done, but just to say, hey, look at the things that you can do. So The first thing I'll show you is this little website header. I made a site for the things that we did in our district, and you can see that here. This is the website, and so this little banner at the top was easy enough to go in, and this was a custom size. So I went and looked up what the custom size was for a Google site, which is what I was using, and then I was able to create that. So while they have all these templates that are out there to kind of get you going, I was able to go in and put in a very specific size, 1176 by 310, as you can see up here, my tab maybe. And so this is just a website banner, a header that I use throughout that website. And again, it made it really, really easy. I was able to find all of these elements directly inside of Canva. None of them, minus the picture of me, came from outside of Canva, but that was easy enough to upload, and I'll show you some of that stuff in a bit here. But that's a very simple one. Another one that I've done is for something that I've been working on in terms of a kind of side project, thinking about a logo for something I've been creating. So I went in and started looking at some different templates, but then I was able to kind of create all of these different versions of this potential logo, really as I was trying to figure out what it was going to look like, right? So I wasn't exactly sure. I hadn't hired somebody to kind of create this logo. So I went in and started looking for some examples of those. And once I had them all in here and I was making copies of pages and changing colors slightly or using slightly different fonts or, adding some additional elements, whatever it was, I'm able to have all of these in one place now, where I can kind of scroll through them and pick out the ones that I really like and the ones that I don't necessarily like. But again, these were all kind of from some templates that were created. And then all I did was try and like mold them into the design and the message that I wanted to send. So this one again is more of a logo, something I could use in lots and lots of different places. So take this as a PNG file, so I could put that on top of other things that I might create with no, so it doesn't have a background. And I'll show you how to do some of those things. But this is just a logo. Like how could I change this logo using some things within Canva? This one was an infographic that I made for teachers in our building, or in our schools. We have some folks, buildings using some clear touch machines, their touch panel for projection instead of using projectors. So they were new to people though. And so it was like, okay, how do I connect this thing? And so this was created as a way to print this and put it on the back of the TV or next to the panel, so that teachers could use it to figure out how do I project? How do I get what's on my computer onto that screen? And there are 3 different options to be able to do that. And so I went in here and found, again, it's not about in Canva finding the exact thing that's going to work perfectly, but it's about finding a template or an example and saying, oh, if I move this and tweak that and add my information here, what's that going to look like? And then I was able to take all that and create this little infographic for them in that school. Let's see here. I want to move this. This was a document that was going home. We put on a coding night at one of the elementary schools that we have. And so we went in and really just started from blank here and just added some elements in. So lines and boxes and pictures and text. This was from a blank start. So we didn't start with any template here, but I was able to create something to go home with families that night so they could continue doing some coding at home. So making a flyer, making a poster, that kind of thing. That's what this one is. We've used it to create, like I said, I'm on the iTech board for a conference that we had, for some social media posts that we're going to go out for presenters. So we were able to take their sessions, explain their session a little bit, talk about who the person is, find a picture of them, and then I use the tool. If you've never used this tool before, it's one that's not intended to be used today, but it's a site called remove.bg. So you go and take any image that you have. So this image of Eric that I had, obviously had a background at one point, and remove.bg, if you put upload your image there, it will take away the background and leave you with a blank background image so that I could use it for something like this. So we created these so that we could share them on social media and promote sessions. So those again are just some examples. If I go back to all of my designs, you'll see that in this one, I have all kinds of things that I've tried, things that worked and didn't work, things that were projects, So those, again, they're there solely for the purpose of really trying to show some different things that you can do, and kind of make it look somewhat professional. So yeah, I'm gonna type in an answer here too. It's remove.bg is the website I talked about. Remove, the word remove, then .bg. And that's a site that you can use to remove the background from images. So it's always one of my favorites. It's not one that I do a session on necessarily, but every time you share that one, people are like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for that kind of tool. So I always have to thank my friend Tony Vincent for sharing that one. Tony is a great sharer of things, and remove.bg is one of those. So that is in essence kind of what, the things that I've created, right? The things that I've been able to kind of create in there. So when we get back to that question about what is Canva, Canva really is a place where we can go to create all kinds of different things. It's not even in, it used to be like, oh, I could create newsletters there, but there's so much more there now than there used to be. And one of the really brilliant things about Canva is they continue to push themselves to think differently about what can be created here. So you can do a lot of work in here now, even with video. You can do some things with creating GIFs. They continue to add templates of different kinds of things that you can make. So it's a really innovative company that is really looking to continue to push the envelope and do new things, which is why I love Canva. If you're a podcast listener, there's a really great episode of the podcast, How I Built This, about the beginnings of Canva and how it got started. It was a young lady, Perkins is her last name, I think. I can't remember it now. But it's a really great episode. So if you listen to How I Built This, there's one about Canva. That's kind of an interesting look at how the company got started. So that's kind of what Canva is. It's a place to create. It's a place to make things. It's a place to design in ways that maybe you couldn't design elsewhere. This is one of those things where people would ask all the time, how do I create a newsletter? Well, in the past, we might have used Microsoft Publisher. We might use something like Lucid Press, which is a website. We might use, Google Docs in a very, very kind of primitive way to create something like that. And people were trying to force fit creating some of these different pieces in programs that either don't exist in the same form that they did before, or can't do some of the things that you can do in Canva. And that's again, one of the things I really love about that. So we think about what Canva is. It's this versatile tool, this versatile online tool to create just about anything that you can think of creating, because even if they don't have a template for it, we're going to look at those in just a few seconds here, even if they don't have a template for it, if you can envision it, then you can make it here. Because even if I create something that maybe isn't necessarily a newsletter, but it's kind of like that. I can create it in whatever size I want. I can do whatever I want to, but I can use some of those template features that exist in newsletters that they have, or in anything else that they have, and move those into my creation. So that's kind of part of what we will look like as well. Yeah, so remove, remove.bg. Sorry, I will put that somewhere that's a little easier for people to get to. Remove.bg is a fantastic tool, so I will make sure and put that up somewhere, and I'll also show it before when we go and do something. I'll show it as part of the demo as well. Okay, so what I would like you to do, if we can, is just take a minute or two and run over to Canva and create an account if you haven't. So all you do is go to canva.com, canva.com. I'm gonna log out so you can see what this looks like. So when I go to canva.com, just as a new user, if you are using a Google account, it's really easy just to sign in with Google, log in with Google. You are welcome again to create that with a Facebook account or an Apple account, or you can create it just using an email or password. It is free. Canva is a tool that you can pay for. It's one of the very few tools that I have ever paid for. I do pay for this one. It's about 12 bucks a month, but I'll show you why I do that in just a bit here. But what I would like is for everybody to go and do that. So I'm going to give you a minute or two and just run over and try and log into Canva so that when you do log in, you're going to get to a place where you can jump into some of these templates as well as I'm doing it, and you can try some of the things. You know, in a design kind of tool like this, it's not always completely beneficial to just watch somebody go in and click around. We will do that, but I also want you to have an opportunity to go and play with that as well. So I'm going to give you 1 minute. Go ahead and head over and sign into Canva, and then in 1 minute I will start up again. About 15 seconds if you can be back over with me, and then we'll flip back and forth. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do as we're getting into Canva, as we get going, is to look at what you can create. And so if you have, if we're looking at the things that we can create there, that's kind of where we're going to start, because that will lead a lot of the work that you'll do in Canva. So as I head back over to my Canva, just my home page, what you can see are a couple of ways to get to some things here. So first, you'll see across this top row here, you'll see a lot of the different things that you can create. So Facebook posts and covers and videos and presentations, which I'll tell you, I've really moved to creating almost all of my presentations in Canva as opposed to, say, even Google Slides, because of the number of templates that are there. There are some animated pieces that you can have in there. It's been really easy to move images and videos and things like that in. So those are some reasons, but the presentations I use all the time now. Logos and business cards and invitations, infographics. So I'm not going to read all of these, but you'll see as we scroll over, there are just, it seems like endless things that you can create, right? So I can go and kind of scroll through here and find what I want, and you'll see it just keeps going. Other ways that I can do this is they do have them kind of chunked up into categories. So if I go to social media, obviously what I'm going to get here are things that might be shared on Instagram and blogs and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and those kinds of things. So these are all kinds of different things that you can do. And what this ultimately does, right, is just puts it into the appropriate size to be shared as a Facebook cover. You don't have to mess with any of that. It does it automatically. And then what they've done also, when we get into there, you'll see this, is they have layouts for some of those things already too. So if you are design challenged in terms of figuring out, okay, you know, how does text integrate and mix with image? How does image size, you know, fonts, colors, all of those things that go into creating a really great design, it does a lot of that work for you. And you can choose the one that seems to fit most closely with what you want to do. So you can see social media and events. These are things like brochures and posters and programs and tickets. Lots of fun things you can do here. Marketing, marketing pieces, documents. You know, my most recent resume was built in Canva. I loved the way that those looked, and they're so easy to share. Prints, so business cards, postcards, those kinds of things are great. Video, like I said, is kind of a new thing for them, a newer piece that you can create some video, and really what it is, you bring some video in and you're able to put some pieces on top of that. So text on top of that, animation on top of that, those kinds of things. Things for schools. So again, this is where I go, you know, we create, I have kids, a class of language arts, you know, 10th, 11th grade, somewhere in there, that they create infographics. That's part of something they have to do. So we'll go in and share this so they can create infographics in there, again, with templates and layouts and things that exist already, which is pretty great. Mind maps and yearbooks and lesson plans and all kinds of stuff here. And then you'll see some that are impersonal as well. And you'll see some crossover here too. You see some Instagram stuff here, create t-shirts, websites, all kinds of fun stuff. So I can also come in there and look at that under one of these different headings, different groups. I can also come up and search, right? So I can just search and say, well, I'm really looking to create a website, whatever, and there it is. So I'll have a website that'll be there, or a mobile website. So I can type in some of those words, and it'll pull up some things that exist that might be directly related to that. So those are some of the kinds of things that you can create, and how you do it. And what we'll really look to do here soon is then get into that and see what we can do once we're in there. So we have all those options, we have all those templates, we have all those things that we're going to be able to do. That's the what can you create, and again, it's almost endless. You know, there are very few things that I could think of as I'm looking through there that there's not a template for, that there's not an example for. And again, even if there's not, I can go in here, I can show this. So if I go back here, and if I want to create something, create a new design, I'll go up here to the upper right and say create new design. And I can do custom dimensions as well, right? So I can come in here and say custom dimensions of whatever I want, either in pixels, inches, things like that. You can print some or create some pretty large pieces here. I know that for a conference we put on a couple of years ago, we had a giant banner. The banner was, well, I shouldn't say giant. The banner was probably 3 feet wide by about 6 feet tall, and had some information on it about some podcasts. That was a podcast pavilion that we had going on. And so we printed that, and then they had it printed on vinyl. So we created it in Canva, created it to the size we wanted. That was going to be the appropriate size to print on the vinyl they had. And then we printed it on a large 3 foot by 6 foot-ish piece of vinyl. So, you know, again, even though that is not necessarily in here as a template, I don't know where that would be necessarily if I was looking for it as a template. You can create just about anything you want here. And so that's kind of where we are. Aside from, I'll show you this too, aside from searching for it, aside from the topics or the headings that they have here where they've categorized them, and aside from searching, you know, kind of running through all those, sorry, I have my magic mouse and it's flipping all over the place. But up here in the upper left-hand corner, I can also go under this templates, and you'll see all kinds, you know, those same kinds of things there. And you'll see they continue to do things. You have like Zoom backgrounds and stuff in here. So that's kind of where what you can do. You can start by figuring out what it is you want to create, and then we go in and we find a template that helps us start that. So let's go in, and I'm gonna go ahead and create something, and we're gonna do let's do a brochure. So if I go in here, and I'm just going from documents to brochures, or I could search that, I'm going to click on brochures, and it opens me up into the editor. And really what this is going to do first is give us the layout, and then on the left-hand side of the screen, it gives us all of these different templates that we can use. So for any one of these, it's going to give us exactly the same sizes and templates that we have on the screen in front of us. So you'll see that some of these slide, so 1 page of 2, so it'll slide through and show me here what the first 3 pages would look like and the second 3 pages. So as we folded this into a brochure, what this might look like, how it's going to fold appropriately. And so these, again, are in categories, so real estate, spa brochures, company brochures. I can also come up here and just type in some words. So I'm going to type in education and see what happens. So you'll see that it brings up some templates that are more school related or education related. So I'm just going to click on this very first one. And what I will have is I can either click on one of these and put it in, or I can say apply both pages. And I'm going to do that here. So when I click apply both pages, what it has done is it has created now for me both pages of my brochure, right? So a front and a back, for lack of a better way of doing that. And so once I have created that, once I've picked this template, all of my information is just here now, right? So you'll see that all of this is clickable. And so I have the ability to edit, change a lot of these things, right? So that's what it looks like for that. If I decide, nah, you know, I look at this now and I don't really like that one, I would prefer this one. I can say apply both pages, and it just takes away what I had already and puts these 2 pages in as my new brochure. So I can choose, pick and choose the template that I want, and the template that I want that applies to the, you know, the kind of thing I'm trying to make, right? So a brochure or something else. I want to do one other thing and just show you what it looks like if it's a different kind of creation. So I'm going to come in here and say animated social media. So if I pick an animated social media, it's going to put it into an appropriate size for me. And again, on the left, what I'm going to see are all of these templates that are already created that have some animation in them. So you know, if I come down and just click on one of these and put that in, what we'll see is that all of those pieces. So the animation in this case is the sun, right? It's the sun that we can see the animation in and move things around here. So when we're creating some things here, that's what we're able to do. We're able to pick whatever the template is that we want, and then go in and pick exactly what we want it to look like. Now, the other thing is nothing stops me necessarily from saying, you know what, I like this layout. I don't particularly like the sun, right? So I can come over here to elements, and we're going to go through each of these in just a second, but I'm going to show you something, and I'm going to say I would rather have a moon just for the sake of doing this. So these are images. I can make these filters and say, show me animated ones, and I'll apply that. And so now what I'll see is like, you know what, this is better. I'd rather have this moon and not the sun. So I just delete the sun out. I move the moon into place, make it smaller, you know, do all that work that I'm gonna show you in just a second, but all of these are completely editable then, right? I can do whatever I like with them. I'm gonna say move that forward, just there we go. So I'm behind those clouds still, and now I've got the moon there instead of the sun. So even though you're looking at what appears to be a template, you have complete control over all of that, okay? All right, how do you see those things like text on the left? I'm looking at my iPad. So the editing on, you know, a phone or an iPad or something like that, it does look different. And, you know, I have never been able to edit very well on my phone. I haven't really tried it on my iPad as much, but it just isn't quite the same. So I'm gonna go grab something really quickly. I'm looking at my phone to see where that might be. So instead of having those things on the left, there is a plus button if you're doing it on mobile, on your phone or on your iPad. There's a little plus button, and when you click the little plus, you get the options for text, images, videos, illustrations, and all those kinds of things. So if you're doing it on a mobile device, look for that plus button. You know, on my phone, you know, as I'm showing it, it's in the bottom right-hand corner on my phone. And then when I click the plus button, I get all these options. So hopefully that helps if you're doing it on mobile. Okay. And so what we'll do then is I want to go through and show you all of the tools. So if we're now going to create, if we're going to go in and really use what Canva has to offer, I want to go through those tools with you. So I'm going to leave it right on this template, and I'm going to click over here back up on top on templates. So this is where we are. Remember, if we wanted to change this, we could. This is where we would search that. If we want to search something up here, I have no idea what will show up. If I say baseball, there's really nothing, right? So it has some baseball, has a baseball quote, and you'll see that there's some animation behind there. So that's a way I can always change the template, but that's where templates are. The next thing down here are uploads. Uploads are anything that you are moving into your that you're taking from your computer and moving into your Canva to use. So you could be uploading images, you might be uploading video. So those two things are really what you would upload here. And you have space here. So you can upload into here. I'm gonna switch over quickly just to show you. So the one that I've been using is my personal Canva account, and it's the one I pay for. and I don't always necessarily like to demo with the one I'm paying for, because you might not see some of the things. I'll click back over there and show you some things that I pay for in a bit, but I'm gonna get into my one that I don't pay for, so that you can see what that's like using just the free version. Nothing I've done so far is any different. Everything I've done has been available in the free version as well. So let's see here, continue as me. Okay. So we're back in here now. I'm in my Canva that I use for that I have with my school account, which is not the paid version. So we'll go ahead and do this, and I'll move it in. Okay. So we were looking at uploads, and again, uploads are going to be all those things that we bring up into our Canva account. That we can then use in anything that we create, not just on that template that we're currently working on, but on any of them. So I can take any of these things that I have saved in my Canva account and move them in there. Now, one nice thing about that is, sometimes I'm off finding images. So if I go to Google Images, and I would be much more careful about copyright here if I was actually doing this for something, but if I want to use this image, right? I could download it and upload it into my Canva account, which is typically the way you might have to do that, but instead I'm just going to control click or right click on this and say copy image. And when I come back over to my Canva and paste, just control V or paste in, you'll see that it's now available for me, but it's also in my upload. So it takes that image and uploads it in, so I could use that later as well. So it's not going to be just available here. If I went back and started any new thing, make a recipe card, with a cat on it. So that cat is going to be, that image is going to be in my images right there. So I could use it here now. Okay. So that's where we will, where we can use that upload. So sometimes I'll go and find images elsewhere and just copy and paste them in. They automatically upload to my Canva account. Okay. So that's uploads. So any of those things, pictures or videos, I can then use anywhere in any of my Canva. Photos then. Photos are things that are already in Canva. So they have a library of photographs, and you're going to see it a little bit here, illustrations and clip art and all kinds of things. This is where the pay version really comes in handy. Many of their images and videos and line art and all those kinds of things are free, but not all of them. And so any of these images that are in here right now, I can use, right? So I can take and throw an image in here and use that. And anybody can use these images. These are free images to use that are directly within Canva. You'll see that there are some categories up here. I can click school and find all kinds of images here. What you'll notice is as I scroll over these images, some of them say free in the bottom right-hand corner, some of them say pro. And so that again is kind of the big difference. That's one of the things you get with the pay account, is you get access to all of these images, regardless of if they're free or pro. That's one thing that I really like. I like to know that I have access to those images without having to go anywhere else to find them. So I can find them directly inside of Canva. And again, if I put this pro image on here in my not pro account, you'll see that it has this Canva watermark over the top of it.
Devin, sorry to interrupt you, but I think the screen didn't switch.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Oh, I know what I did. Sorry. Let's do that one. How about now? Now we should be good.
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay. Sorry about that. I switched windows. I should have known. So you'll see that this one, these images over here, they say, some of them say free, some of them say pro. This is a pro image, and this is an account that I'm not paying for, so I have this Canva watermark over the top of it. This one is a free image, and obviously there is no watermark. So those are photos, and photos, you can find all kinds of photos in here. I can come in here and search kind of by color and by orientation, so I can be a little bit, so if I want a horizontal image of the beach, and let's see what happens if I do purple. You'll see that it gives me horizontal images of the beach that had kind of a purple tint. So those are really great, and all of these are pro, right? So if you are really looking for something specific, you may have to have the pro account to do some of that. So that's what you know there. You can see here that Photos Pro, over 60 million photos in Canva Pro. It's one of the reasons that this is a product that I actually pay for. Okay, the next one down is Elements. Elements are all of the other things other than images, all right? So when we're talking about photo frames and we're talking about shapes, lines, arrows, stickers, animations, charts, you know, all of these things that kind of exist as things that I can use in Canva. So, you know, hand-drawn animals. If I click this little hand-drawn dog here, there he is. The nice thing about many of these is since they are created in Canva, you'll see this dog. In the upper left here, I have all these colors, right? So these are the colors that were used to create this dog. So if I wanted to change the color, the dark brown, right? So if I wanted to change that to a dark gray, I just click it and it changes just those pieces. So these hand-drawn animals, or not just animals, the hand-drawn images and all these sketches, all these things that are in here, I can change all of those. You know, so I can put this little strawberry, and you can see here are the colors. No, I don't want that. I want it actually to be red, like a real strawberry. I can change all of that and then have that. So in this Elements, you know, so many of these things can be used as clip art and animation stickers, those kinds of things. But what we also find is that we use things like shapes all the time when we create things. So we will use frames to put images in, right? So if I put this image frame in here, and it's a circle image frame, it means that when I take a picture, say a picture that I've already uploaded, I move that in and it automatically puts it into that circle for me. If I double click on it, I can kind of move it around, crop it, do whatever I need to do to it. You know, but that's kind of what that does. So any of those image frames right here, you know, I can put in all kinds of things. Some of these are kind of nice. You know, if I'm creating something where I want the image to look like it's on that computer, right? I can take that and put those images in there. You know, double click, move them around, whatever I want to do. So those are Elements. Elements are really anything you can think of. So when I'm looking for something, I'll do that. I'll come up here and just type in arrows, and I'll have all kinds of arrows. Again, some are pro, some are free. And then once I move these in, like this free one, you know, I can resize, I can change color, you know, anything that I would want to do with that. So the Elements are where you find so many of the pieces that you end up using in Canva. So those are Elements. The next one down is Text. Text is exactly what it sounds like, but with a whole bunch of options. So I've got all these add a heading, subheading, and body text, right? So if I put that in, obviously it's just bigger and it gives it a font that would be good for a headline. Doesn't mean I can't change any of that. I can change it with fonts. Here's another place where the pro version becomes handy. You can see all the little fonts here with the crown. Those are all the premium or the pro version fonts. There are lots and lots of fonts, and there are plenty of fonts even in the free version, but you pick up a whole bunch of fonts when you pay for it as well. So I put that in. I can do anything with that. What they also have here, though, that I love are they have these kind of pre-produced pieces of text elements. And so they'll match up fonts and colors and sizes and all that stuff that look good together. And then when I put these in, excuse me, again, all editable. I can change fonts, change any of that. I can change the size by dragging here. You know, I can change the colors. You'll see I have the colors in here to do that. So any of these are editable, but they put some of these together for you. And if you're, again, not real good at thinking about like, okay, you know, when I'm trying to put fonts and sizes and colors together, maybe I'm not great at that. They do some of that work for you. So when I'm thinking about fonts that go together, or don't go together, size, different sizes within one text element. That's where you get this. So it's a really great thing for those of us who maybe are not professional designers. There is music. These are going to be the ones, obviously, that are going to go with, that are going to be videos that you can add some kind of background music to. I'm not going to go into that too much today because we're really going to focus mostly on the print stuff. Same thing right below that. Here are videos. So when I create some things, these are background videos. These are stock video that can be used to create something. So any of this is good. You know, again, these are great for things that you're posting on Facebook, on Twitter, anywhere online on your website. You can have these animated pieces with some text over the top. What you'll see is that, I'm going to delete all that. If I move one of these in here just to kind of show what it looks like, I can then take these and kind of make it bigger. You would make it a specific size if you were really doing this. You know, I'm just kind of showing right now, but then any of those text features that we talked about, we can bring right on top of this and edit, edit so it's on top of that text. And so it'll be there as or on top of the video as the video is running. So those are videos. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that either. Backgrounds. So these are all obviously backgrounds, things that go behind. So if I click any one of these, it will make that the background for this particular template that I'm using. If I'm using a different kind of template, it resizes it to appropriately fit the space. So that's what backgrounds are. Again, you can see all kinds of different backgrounds. You can search in here. I'm not sure. Let's see. Map maybe. Yeah, so there we go. It's like there's a map background. You can also create your own. You know, bring in an image that you might want to use. You can make it just a specific color. It does that pretty well too. Folders are ways to create organization if that's what you need. I don't do much of that. My stuff is typically a mess. It's kind of that's just kind of the way I work. But for those people who need folders, you can do that. You can see that creating folders is a premium feature. So you'll want to make sure that you have that. And then lastly here under more, this is great. These are ways that you can integrate other websites, other tools, so that you can pull things into Canva. So if you wanted to put a map, you could have Google Maps integrated with Canva and move an image of that map right onto your Canva. You could do the same with Instagram, Google Drive. So if you're a Google Drive user and you have all kinds of images or other things in Drive that you wanted to use, you could certainly do that. So you can see when I click on Google Drive integration, it connects to my Google Drive on my school account here that I have. And so when I click that and click it to allow it to talk back and forth, what you're going to see are all the folders and documents and images and stuff like that that I have in my Drive. You know, it's going to be images and things that you can put on here, but you know, I could take any of the things that are in my Drive now and put them onto my Canva template. So if you have other tools that you use, again, things like Pixabay is awesome. Pexels is awesome for images. You have pictures in Facebook that you want to use. You can connect some of those things here as well. Okay, so what I want to do then quickly is just kind of talk about how I create. So I'm going to go back to templates here and throw something on just so we have it. When I have a template that I've started, right, and I'm just saying, okay, I kind of like this layout and I want to be able to edit this and change it. Everything within Canva is really is its own element and they're all clickable. So if I click on this one text image, double clicking in there allows me to then change that text, right? So I could say design like, oops, my goodness, like a pro, okay? So design like a pro is my heading. I've just changed that. I can do that. If I want it to be, slightly bigger, I can either pull the corners to make those bigger, or I do have my menu up here and I can change that to whatever size I want. I can change it to whatever color I like. I can change it to whatever font I like, all of those things that we might have in a normal editor. I do have some effects here, so if I want it to look a little neon, I can add that in and it kind of does it for me. So that's a text element. Again, any of these text elements I can do. The nice thing in here too, though, is that I said everything is its own element. So this line, this whole piece down here is grouped. So you can see that in the upper right-hand corner, I have one that says ungroup. I'm going to ungroup that quickly. So all these pieces are individual. Now you can see that each of these lines now is also its own piece. So I can delete them, make them bigger, change the color. Instead of having a line, let's say I really want to put in something that has ends on it. So I'm going to come over here to elements and I'm going to put in lines. And really what I want is one like this, right? I want it to look like that. So I can just delete this one out, and then I can resize this to fit my space. So it just changes the look of it, right? But I liked having a line there. It just didn't have the line I wanted. So that's doable. Each of these little things up here is its own as well. So you'll see if I move this out of the way, it's its own piece. So I'm going to undo that, and you'll say, well, how are the colors different? Well, what you can see is that if I have this element clicked on, this kind of bluish triangle, and if I come up here to transparency, you'll see that it's at 70% transparent. That's why we're getting the look of 3 different colors here. It's transparent on this kind of green one. So you can see if I change the transparency here. But they've kind of done that for me, and they're like, oh, I kind of like the way that looks. If I wanted to, I could copy those 2 pieces, all right, and say, you know what, I really want it in both. And now you can really see it's actually a rectangle and a triangle. I can say, you know, I kind of want that in the bottom corner too. So I'm just going to rotate this to 100 and then move it down into the corner as well, right? So if I want to take some of those elements and copy and paste, I can do anything I want on here. Any of the other elements that we talked about earlier, if I wanted a sticker on here, I can add any of these things now to this. And again, when it's possible, sometimes the animations you can't. So what you can see here is I can't change the color of this animation. Animations end up being a little bit different in their creation than say like one of these little elements, right? So this little element here that I can put in here, I can say, you know what? I want it to be the same color scheme. And what's great about Canva is when I come in here to do the color scheme, so if I click on the blue that's the clipboard, you can see here that it gives me document colors, which includes everything on this document. So it gives me the exact colors of what's on this document already. Now, it's also seeing the colors within this doctor here. So I have to kind of pick and choose, but I can see like, oh, I want the clipboard to be, you know, more this color. You know, I could change that to this, and you'll see that it changes that. I can change that green. It's put it on this one. I want it to be this green. So it changes the colors based on how you change that, or whichever color you choose. And again, it tells you what colors are in that document already. So I don't have to guess. I don't have to go in and try and figure out what colors are being used specifically so I can match the colors. If I were doing that, you can find, you know, the numbers. So if I were looking for a very specific color, if you know the hex numbers, which you can find online. If you have something that you're trying to find, there's a nice little tool I use in Google Chrome that's a little eyedropper that will give you the color, the hex number of any color on any web page. So if you want to match some things, you can do that. So I absolutely love that part of this in terms of, you know, I might not know exactly what those colors are, but it's going to tell me what the colors are there too. Okay, let's see, that's nothing there. No chats, okay. So that's how I can move things around. Any piece that's in here, if I click on it is scalable, right? So scalable, croppable, I can do anything I want with any image, anything that's on here. If I, again, select my doctor here, you know, bigger, smaller, I can do that. When you double click on images and other things, it allows you to crop. So you'll see that when I double clicked on the doctor here, everything else kind of grayed out, and there are these little white handles around the doctor. If I click on those and drag, what it's actually doing is cropping. So if I just wanted him from the waist up, I would bring that to there and then just click enter on my keyboard, and now I've got him from the waist up essentially, and not his full body. So I want to use parts of that, but not all of that. That's cropping. I just double click on it and I'm able to crop that in there. So there are ways to do, you know, all kinds of things with text that we've talked about. There are ways to add images in here and crop those and move them around and clone them, you know, copy and paste them. That maybe provide opportunities to design something that maybe starting from scratch, not having a real good idea of what we were doing maybe to start, we can kind of create that from the beginning. Any design that we get then, we have the opportunity to save that design. or share that design. And you'll see that in the upper right-hand corner right now, it says download. I'm gonna go through download and share. But download, if I click the little arrow next to it and move me out of the way, you see some options here that where I can share this. So download means it's gonna download as a particular file type to your computer, and you'll have that file to do whatever you want with it, okay? Sharing the link means it's going to give you a link, this link right here. When I copy it, it will give anyone without a sign-in the ability to see it. So I could share the link with others, have them look at it, but they're not editing or doing anything else necessarily in here. So that's sharing a link. I can present it, and again, presenting makes it full screen and allows me to use it as kind of a presentation, so you don't see all the other bells and whistles around it. I can share it directly to Facebook, I can share it directly to Twitter, and I can email it. All right, what you'll see is that there are more. I can save it to Drive and all these other places, which are fantastic. The other thing that Canva does allow you to say, you know what, I want to print these. I want to print these as posters. And so when I click print as poster, it's not a poster size right now, so it's not going to be perfect. So I'm just going to say resize design. And what it will do is give you actually some prices. It'll say, okay, in a 12 by 16 form, it's $6 for one, and you can print that. And there's your shipping options and all that good stuff. So I can print directly from here and say, nah, I want 10 copies of it instead. You know, so you can come in here and really, you can print. You can do whatever you would want with those ones you have them. So the print options are really nice, and they make it easy for you to do that. When I look at share then, share is one of those options that are great for collaborating on Canva. So I can have other Canva users. I can put them on a team that I have. So you can see this like thing that says Devin Schoening's team or D. Schoening's team. I can share it to that, and then anybody that has access that's on that team, they see the same folders, or I'm sorry, the same projects. So I could show that. I could also type in emails. So I know that somebody within my district, she and I have been working on some things. And so I could just put in her email. It's not going to come up probably, but I could put hers in and send it, and it will invite her to be part of that and collaborate on that, so she could come in and collaborate as well. So lots of great things to do there. When I come over here, I'm going to go back to my home screen really quickly, just so I'm not going to run out of time. On the left-hand side here of my home page on the web version, I don't know exactly where this would be on the mobile version. I'll try and look at my phone as I'm doing this, but I don't see it. I can come over here to the left, and again, in the free version here, this is not the pay version, but you can see my D. Schoening's team, and these are some things that I'm just practicing with. I don't really have a lot of other people in my district that are using Canva that I have on a team. I've got one person now, and we have that. So this would be designs that I could put into here. These are ones that have been shared with me. So you can see this one here is the one I talked about earlier, this podcast pavilion. This is the one that we printed in a big banner. So maybe not quite 3 by 6, maybe 3 by 5, something like that. And so that was where that was created. So I can create teams. I can share these with other Canva users. Canva users can share them with me so that I can look at them, and then I can have things under that I can share with others as well, which is really, really great. I can collaborate a little better with folks using Canva with some of those tools. I don't remember exactly which of those. There are some benefits in those for you having the pro account. I just can't remember what they are right now. Again, mostly the pro account for me is about having access to the images and the fonts and the videos and all those elements. And then you get some additional features in terms of downloading. And I might be able to download some different file types because I have a pro account. The one other thing I want to show you before we're done, and I'll kind of answer some questions, is the brand kit. So if you pay for this, you can actually create a brand. I'm gonna new share over to here. Let's see here. Okay, we should see the sun again, I think. If I go back home and go to brand kit, what I have done is taken in my pro version again, is I have taken the colors from our district brand, So the colors that we use in official district promotional materials or printed materials, I've taken those exact colors and added them in as my brand colors, so that when I go to anything that I am creating in Canva, one of the things that I have when I go to colors is I have my brand colors there. So I can pick those colors. Again, those are the ones that our district uses specifically by hex number. I can have those colors available to me anytime. So if I wanted to make this document in the same color scheme as my district uses, which I've done a little bit of, this is it's that color there. If I want to change the font to my brand color here, I can get this to match up pretty closely with my district colors, my brand colors, by having those in and available. So that brand kit is kind of nice, where I can go in and have those colors available to me all the time. You can do the same thing with fonts. So if there are colors and fonts, for instance, that you use all the time for a particular company, business, project, whatever, you can have those in there as brand colors, brand fonts, and have access to them anytime you're creating something, which is pretty great. Okay, with that, we've got about 5 minutes left. What questions do you have? This is pretty quick looking through, what you can do with Canva and some of the tools that you can use. We obviously didn't get into depth on any one of them. That might be for another day, but what questions do you have that I might be able to answer, or thoughts that you have, or ideas that you've of how you've used something like Canva or Canva before? What do you got? Yeah, are you able to upload your own music as a type of music? That's a good question. So let me think here. If I go to, I don't think so. I am pretty sure that is not an option. To upload your own music, because when I go to upload, the only options I get are image or video. So that's a really good question that I don't think you can do. If I go to music here, I can search, but there is no upload. I don't think you can. I've never seen that, and I still wasn't sure even before. I can't imagine that's not something they would eventually add in here, because they do, like I said, they add things all the time. So that's not an option now, but that's a really good question. After I get into this, I'm gonna get confused or frustrated. Yeah, you can certainly contact me anytime you want. I can throw my, I don't know if my email address or Twitter account or whatever is available anywhere, but if not, I'll throw it in the chat for sure. But yeah, you can contact me anytime. I would not consider myself like the world's expert on Canva, but I know quite a bit about it, and I've created lots and lots of things in Canva. So yeah, I'm always happy to collaborate. I don't know if mentor is the right word, but happy to collaborate and help you with something if you need it. If you need that. The other thing that I have is a pretty wide network of people. So if I don't know the answer, I think I know somebody who would know the answer. So that would be where I would start too. How do you save then reopen to finish? Good question. In Canva, things save automatically so long as you're connected to the internet. So on the page that I'm currently on, you'll see at the top it says all changes have been saved. So it will save automatically. It's just like anything else. If I was on a Google Doc or something else that saves automatically, I always check that just to make sure. If it says it hasn't saved for 4 or 5 minutes, then I would click it and make sure it's saved. Maybe my internet connection went off or something happened. So it saves automatically. And then in terms of finding those, when you're on your home page of Canva, and this is true whether you're on the mobile version or on the web version, you'll have one that says all your designs. And so when you click on all your designs, it will bring up everything that you have, and then all you do is double click on one and open it, and that'll do it. So you just go to the home page of Canva, again, whether you're on the mobile version or the web version, and you click on all your designs. So that's a very good one. Good question. Let's see, sorry, so I have Canvas, it seems I have to buy the templates. So the templates are just like the elements and everything else, is there are some that are free. Many of them are free, and there are some that are pay, so or pro version. So it's just like the images or elements. Some of the text features are even in the pay version. So just make sure that you're looking at that. They'll have the little symbol. It will either say free or it will say pro. So yeah, all templates are not available. That's also something that's in the pro version. Good question. Like that you had us practice. Hopefully you did. Hopefully you were able to practice. I talked way more than I wanted to, but anybody who's ever led a webinar or done this, an hour goes really, really fast. You know, Canva could really be like a 3-hour workshop kind of thing where we could really dig into this, but I'm glad that you had that opportunity. I'd like to see an example designing presentations. Yeah, so I'm going to move this out of the way really quickly, and I know we're running out of time, and I apologize. But let's see here. You'll see that I have lots of presentations on here, and I'm going to pick one like this one. So when I open this presentation, the thing that I like, again, is that I have lots of templates to choose from, but then even at that, I have the ability to edit these in a better way than I think I can on even Google Slides. And I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of presentations that I've created, I think. And so you'll see that I have that. And what I honestly didn't even know until a few months ago is that I could present right from here. I was, for a long time, creating presentations in Canva, downloading these as images, uploading them to Google Sites so that I could, or Google Slides, excuse me, so I could present them. I could present from here. What I can't do is share them in the same way that I could in Google Drive. But I could come in here and probably go down to see more in my sharing, and Google Drive is going to be an option. So I could save it there. I just don't know what it looks like. So yeah, I created all kinds of presentations. And again, I think this is one I think looks really, really good, but I did very little of this. I just changed the text. Like, you know, I put in some images. I found some images and some different things, but some of this was already there. I just found the right template. So yeah, maybe that would be one that we could do. That would be simply a all Canva creating presentations could be one that we could do too. So, oh, good question about I need more Canva training. Canva has an amazing library of training opportunities and learning opportunities. So on the Canva homepage, on the top, when you go to learn, there are a million things that you can go there and either search for, or they have created entire courses. They have these really great little things in here like presenting with Canva. There was one I watched the other day that was really like, it walks you through like, oh, how do I change text? And it takes you through like how to change the size, how to change the font, and so it gives you these slides essentially that you walk through, and it has you do it on one side of the slide and it's showing you on the other side. So the Canva Learn series, so that Learn in the upper left-hand corner when you're on their homepage is fantastic. I could not, it was on my list of things to make sure and talk about, but I could not be more effusive in my praise for that stuff. So so I pulled in that menu. Most approved, but I will try to build futures. Okay, yeah. If the music can be uploaded, that'd be great. I just don't know that it can. Okay, so thank you so much for coming today. I hope this was helpful. I hope it gave you some ideas about how you could use Canva. I have in the chat added my email address. And my Twitter handle. You can contact me in either of those spaces, and I'd be happy to help walk you through any questions that you might have about Canva. Again, it's maybe my favorite tool. Like I said, the only one that I pay for right now because I do use it enough, and I love their options. So, anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and if you do have questions, please let me know. I saw a hand up. If I can answer, I will. Anyways, have a great day.